Hello and welcome to round 12 of Grand Prix Kansas City. I'm Ben Swartz, joined here in the booth by Marshall Sutcliffe, and we've got a battle of the undefeateds. Ari Lax on the left-hand side of your screen, facing off against Sean Waihe on the right-hand side of your screen. They're both playing Kiki Jiki Pestermite type decks. Ari with Birthing Pod, green. Sean Waihe, more traditional, but has white as opposed to just a standard blue and red. And he started things off with a Wall of Omens, Wall of Roots for Ari Lax.
Yeah, and you can see right away that there's a Wall of Omens for Sean Waihe. That indicates very strongly that he is not on your normal, everyday Kiki Jiki Pestermite type deck here. So he's he's going to be drawing cards. He's going to be hoping to keep the ground game and any pesky creatures locked down with his removal spells. And then he's going to set himself up so that when he's ready to finish the game off, he's got an infinite combo that can beat basically anything. Now here's a Wall of Roots for Ari Lax. It's going to pick up a counter here so that he can pay three mana plus the Phyrexian mana to get the Birthing Pod. He doesn't bother putting the counter on because he's instantly sacrificing it using his other land in the Birthing Pod. And what is he going to get here that costs 3?
Well, I went past Deceiver Exarch, so it's not going to be that. He can go get Kitchen Finks. Yeah. And it looks like that's what he's considering.
He seemed to look back at his hand like, wait, was it already in there?
There we go.
There it is, Kitchen Finks.
And that gives him a nice creature to sacrifice to Birthing Pod. He can go get a 4-mana card creature and keep his Kitchen Finks.
That's right.
I see a Splinter Twin and a Deceiver Exarch in Sean Waihe's hand, so he's very close to having the combo.
I think he's got a Kiki Jiki as well now. Yeah. He's quite a few mana off as far as red sources go from getting that Kiki Jiki.
But he does have a Cascade Bluffs, which would give him access to 3 red mana immediately.
Yeah, he just needs to hit one more red.
No, in his hand he's got a Cascade Bluffs.
Oh, okay, and he has one in his
play
as well. So he's actually 1 land drop away. He decided not to cast it this turn, or to play it this turn, because he can't cast Kiki Jiki anyway on only 4 mana. So he's just going to shift the turn back.
Yeah, unless Ari has something, it's going to be close to the end. I mean, Ari did draw a Kiki Jiki this turn. He's a little far away from where he needs to be.
Ari Lax takes a second, sets his hand down, and he goes deep in the tank here. He's taking a look at the mana base from Sean Waihe. He's trying to decide, what can I go for right now? What do I have to wait on? He's got another Kitchen Finks and another Birthing Pod in his hand, I believe.
Unfortunately, I don't think that Ari has Linvala main. He is going to sacrifice his Kitchen Finks here to go find a 4-drop. Oh, he does have a Linvala main, so he's going to almost definitely sacrifice his Kitchen Finks here for Linvala to protect himself for 1 more turn, which is the exact amount of time he needs to set up here. Yep, Linvala, on the following turn, he can sacrifice his Kitchen Finks to go get Restoration Angel and cast the Kiki Jiki in his hand if he draws a land.
He can follow up with a Tarmogoyf here, too, if he wants.
Yeah. Add a good amount of pressure to the board. Waihe is going to have to remove that Linvala if he wants to go off. Yep, and in Tarmogoyf, is that going to get countered? Doesn't look like Waihe has anything.
No, he doesn't. He's got a Pyroclasm in his hand.
But that only sweeps away the Kitchen Finks.
That's right.
I guess, yeah.
All right, here's an end step Restoration Angel to draw a card off of the Wall of Omens. He draws another Splinter Twin. And another Wall of Omens there in hand for Sean as well.
I mean, so he can cast Kiki Jiki here. It doesn't do all that much thanks to the Linvala. And Sean Waihe, he doesn't really have a good way of getting rid of that Linvala. Maybe he's going to cast a Wall of Omens here.
Try to find a path to exile.
Yeah. Draws a Remand.
Not that great here, honestly. Ari Lax has an active Birthing Pod here. And he can just lean on that and really not expose himself to get counterspelled, really. All right, here's a Pyroclasm to take out the Kitchen Finks, though.
I mean, that's pretty important because it would allow Ari to go off on his following turn.
Now, I can't quite see Ari Lax's graveyard, but that does put a sorcery and a creature in the yard if there weren't those already. So Tarmogoyf might be able to beat through those 0-4 Wall of Omens eventually. But I think Ari Lax has his eyes on a bigger plan here than that.
So Ari's 1 land away from going off here. He needs 1 mana to activate that Birthing Pod to sacrifice the Tarmogoyf to go get Deceiver Exarch.
Yep.
And 1 mana to cast Kiki Jiki here. Actually, he can use the Deceiver Exarch to untap one of his lands, right?
He can.
So if he isn't afraid of Path to Exile here, you have to imagine that why he was going to use that Path to Exile on the Linvala, but you never know.
You could assume Ari could be wondering if Sean is planning on pathing that Linvala end step and then untap and combo him out.
And if that's what he's afraid of, then...
because Sean wouldn't have had enough mana for Kiki Jiki and path that turn anyway, and so Ari's probably thinking about that.
So Ari paying 3 mana to go get a Kitchen Finks, and sacrificing the Kitchen Finks to go get what will likely be a Restoration Angel. Doesn't want to try to go off this turn. Oh, okay. Going to Lendra Archmage,
that helps,
solid.
though, when you're against the Splinter Twin aspect.
That sets him up for a really powerful, resilient combo off on the following turn.
I actually paid 2 white on that call, so I think it's 19. I know, sorry. 17 points.
Again, Birthing Pod working around any type of counter magic here quite nicely.
Yeah, one of the nice things about that Alendra Archmage is, well, Ari did have a nice opening with Sean only having 1 mana up. He now has access to 2 counter spells if anything goes awry.
Now, how many blue sources does Ari have currently?
He has a single blue source.
Okay.
He also has either a Breeding Pool or a Misty Rainforest in his hand.
Okay.
So access to potentially a second one. 3 mana for Sean. Make that 4. He's going to cast Snapcaster Mage and Pyroclasm.
He's going to force Ari to counter it here to save his Kitchen Finks.
Yeah, so Ari is going to use Alendra Archmage to counter the Pyroclasm and pass it back. So now if Ari plays that land, he can just go ahead and sacrifice his Tarmogoyf or his Kitchen Finks to go get a Deceiver Exarch or Restoration Angel, then cast Kiki Jiki. Looks like he's just going to sacrifice his Tarmogoyf and play the safe route, play around any counter spells, get Deceiver Exarch, untap his Birthing Pod, sacrifice Kitchen Finks to go find Restoration Angel, untap his Birthing Pod, sacrifice Restoration Angel
to get Kiki Jiki.
To go get Kiki Jiki. But the Kiki Jiki is in his hand. Does he have 2?
This on the last one.
Yeah, he does have 2. Okay. Go find Kiki Jiki while holding a mana up for going to Alendra Archmage. Make an infinite number of guys, and that's game. Ari Lax takes the first game here against Sean Waihe, the Battle of the Undefeateds, round 12 of Grand Prix Kansas City.
That was a beautiful setup for Ari there. He had protection from Path to Exile there in the form of Alendra Archmage still, and he was able to find victory thanks to that careful setup. He needed a careful balance there, though, between making sure he didn't get comboed out. That was Linvala play, and then being patient and waiting 1 extra turn so that he could have Alendra Archmage up to protect his combo.
You don't get to undefeated 11-0 that by playing loosey goosey.
That's right. Yeah, it's easy to get impatient when you see that you have the combo available to you to just move in and try to go for it right then. Because if they don't have anything, you just immediately win the game. But Ari was able to craft the board state such that he could go off a turn later and still not die himself.
We're going to get a quick look at David Gleicier versus William Huey Jensen. Huey on Blue-Red Storm.
Yeah.
Gleicier seems to be on just a junk deck.
Yeah, it looks like junk.
That's black, green, white.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff deck. He's got Neither Reliquary, Liliana, and Deathrite Shaman in play.
See a Birds of Paradise and an Abrupt Decay. These are the kind of things you expect to see from a junk deck.
And sleight of hand for Huey here. Get things going on his turn. He only has 1 card in hand. Looks like his hand's been torn apart thanks to Liliana.
Mm-hmm.
Ton of cards in his graveyard.
That Abrupt Decay, let's see what it hit. Probably hit. There it is, the Pyromancer Ascension.
Yeah.
That's a tough one for Huey to deal with because it's just it's so cheap. It's such a cheap way to deal with Ascension.
Electromancer for Huey. leaving him with just a Pyretic Ritual in hand, but almost definitely that Pyretic Ritual is going to bite the dust.
Yeah, I mean, also Liliana's at ultimate level here if he wants to just pop it.
Wow.
Yeah, he can just make him sack two of these permanents here.
And Gleicier drew another Liliana.
Yeah, he did, so he can take away 2 of his permanents, and he's going to wipe out the rest of his hand too. So David Gleicier has really asserted himself here and put himself in a position to win, especially with that Knight of the Reliquary, which is going to get very large.
Yeah, Liliana discarded card. Huey's seen enough. He'll scoop him up. And David Gleicier wins the first game here. I believe both these players have 2 losses.
They did come. I know that Huey had 2 coming into the day.
Guess he's rattled off a couple to start the day. There you get a good look at the Jun/Junk archetype. They've sort of morphed together: black, green, white, black, green, red, white.
Yep.
It's got cheap, efficient creatures with 1-for-1 removal and discard.
Yep. You can see it says it's the premier deck at disrupting opposing plans, and we saw that in action in that game. We only caught the end of it, but we could see that Huey's hand was decimated by mainly by Liliana of the Veil. It wins the attrition war with card advantage engines like Dark Confidant. You know, one of the things about Liliana of the Veil is that you have to discard as well. So a lot of times you kind of get yourselves both down to 0 cards and not a whole lot going on. That's when they'll play a card like Dark Confidant, and all of a sudden they're refilling their hand quickly while you fall behind.
I'll tell you it later. I'd rather not talk about it.
I mean, also, using Liliana's +1 ability is advantage to the Liliana controller because you get to do that when you want, right?
That's
and
right.
you get to cast your best spell and then discard your worst one, whereas your opponent just like has to be at the mercy of your Liliana as it slowly ticks up, like we saw in that game. Huey looked like he tried to combo off, fizzled, and then Liliana slowly just made sure that he couldn't ever amass enough cards to go off again.
Yeah, you know, I was talking with Huey yesterday, and he had lost a game on camera, and he was questioning, you know, whether he should have kept the hand that he kept, but he said he felt like the deck mulliganed poorly, and the reason why he said that was because it needs a critical mass of resources like cards, land drops, spells. You need all the things that you can get. It's not the type of deck that can, you know, like a Kiki-Jiki combo where it's like, oops, I had these 2 cards and some mana, I got you. It needs a whole lot of things to be able to go off, and so he was wary about mulliganing a 1-lander that he ended up keeping. Missed a bunch of land drops and wasn't able to get there, but as you can see, you know, when Liliana starts going to work on your hand, those resources going away. Kind of doesn't matter what they are. You know, it's not like the deck is hinged on a couple of key spells. So, yeah, those type of, you know, they can use Thoughtseize to take away the ability to go off early, and then cards like Liliana to just make sure that you never can recover again.
Okay, we're back to the Ari Lax Sean Waihe match. Players are drawing their opening hands, looking to go to a game 2 after we saw Ari masterfully win that first game.
That's right.
Looks like land go for Waihe, land Birds of Paradise for Lax. And Waihe looks like he's going to lightning bolt away the Birds of Paradise. Doesn't want Ari to get the mana advantage. That's one of the key strengths of Ari's deck over Waihe's deck. The mana advantage that he can get, and Birthing Pod will allow him to find the creatures he needs for his combo more quickly than Sean's.
Yeah, and that turn 2 Birthing Pod is a complete nightmare for Sean.
Is there no second land out of Ari?
He's got a Plains back there.
Yeah. He's not. Oh, he had a fetch land that
He's
he
just
cracked.
fetching,
Okay.
yep.
I'd be embarrassed if I even mind sense.
Pass it back to Waihe. Looks like he's got access to Lightning Helix, a couple of Path to Exiles, Kiki-Jiki, Restoration Angel, and Wall of Omen. So he's got the combo in hand. He's got some protection. Just wants to get a couple of lands out.
Heard Ari Lax, he asked bird down. Wanted to know if his bird was going to die, but
no,
it was
Waihe let it live this turn. He wanted to draw a land off of the Wall of Omens so he could continue placing land drops. And Waihe's going to crack that fetch immediately. Ari assumes that his bird is dead, but I don't think it is. There's no Lightning Bolt in Sean's hand. Instead, he's going to cast Path to Exile.
Are you going to take 3?
I don't see the value in casting Path to Exile here. Do you, Marshall?
No.
On me after that?
I mean, it is a creature, but yeah, no, that bird is going to live here.
Okay.
He could do it during his upkeep, I suppose. Keep him off of that mana for a turn.
I mean, I think it's more likely that Sean uses the Path to Exile on his own creature, so he can ramp up to the right amount of lands.
Because he doesn't have any more in hand. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, he doesn't have any more lands in his hand.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can tell that Sean is prioritizing that. He's got that Helix in his hand. He doesn't want to kill the bird with it.
No.
All right, and the turn just gets passed back, and Sean doesn't also use it there. He's going to just hold on to it to try to disrupt any type of combo.
Draws Sulfur Vents, though. His 4th land. End of turn, Ari's going to cast Restoration Angel. Asks Sean if that's okay. Ari is still far away from comboing here.
Couple of Path to Exiles for Sean.
Yeah, and Restoration Angel of Sean's own is going to come down, blink out the Wall of Omens. And this is actually pretty good for Ari because it allows him to resolve Linvala here, making it so Sean can't combo off on his turn.
That's right. He can't combo off this particular turn, but Sean, with access to 2 Path to Exiles here, is not going to have a problem taking care of Linvala on this game.
Yeah, so Restoration Angel gets in. Ari falls to 14 life. And Sean just passes the turn back.
Yeah, he's just going to want to path here. He also didn't play a land for the turn.
But he's got access to 2 paths, so he can potentially path Linvala.
He's just going to play another Restoration Angel. All right. And he draws the land that he needs. So he set himself up to be able to untap, path Linvala, and then go off here potentially. Though we do know that Ari Lax has been bringing in Negate out of the sideboard, and there's one right there in his hand. Though with Sean having the 2nd copy of Path to Exile, it will delay him for a turn, but he'll still be able to go off the following turn. So Ari Lax up against it here a bit as Sean is threatening victory.
Instead, Ari's just going to cast Kitchen Finks and Birds of Paradise. Sean does not have access to enough mana to go off on his turn, but he can get rid of that Linvala without fear of a counterspell from Ari. Now, not sure if Sean is afraid of a negate out of the board from Ari, but there's a chance that he might know about that negate. Sean, end of
He's thinking about it, but he can go for it here. He's going to lead it off with the path here.
Okay.
And now the coast is clear.
Is he going to cast Splinter Twin? I mean, that won't let him combo off.
Looks like he's considering it.
Splinter Twin on Restoration Angel. That'll allow him to make a copy of Restoration Angel, blink out the Wall of Omens. Remember, he can't blink the other Restoration Angel because Restoration Angel says non-angel creature.
That's right.
But looks like he's just going to attack in for 3. Hope to make a copy of Angel at the end of his turn. Threaten a bunch of damage. Ari draws another land. I guess that Splinter Twin can't even get... Oh, the Linvala's gone. Okay. Yeah, so...
Yep.
He's going to activate the Restoration Angel here.
Draw a card.
Block with Wall of Omens.
And here is Glenalendra Archmage.
That's not going to do it, though, as Sean has the Kiki-Jiki. So if he thinks he can resolve it here and just cast Kiki-Jiki, then he can go off by making copies of Restoration Angel. And here comes Kiki-Jiki. Ari doesn't have anything. He's posturing and scoops up his card.
Picking up his permanents here. So Sean, why he able to equalize here against Ari Lax? Ari's been pretty unstoppable this weekend, but as you can see by Sean's record, no slouch at 10-0-1, still undefeated on the weekend as well, and you can see why here.
Wow. Head to an exciting game 3 in this match. Very, very close. It's been nail-biters both games.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of positioning, going on here.
And don't forget about upcoming events. July 27th and 28th, we've got live coverage of Grand Prix Rimini at twitch.tv/Magic. That's Magic 2014 Limited, July 27th, 28th. Don't miss it. Twitch.tv/Magic and dailymtg.com. Also on dailymtg.com, you can catch the text coverage of Grand Prix Calgary. That's going to be standard format.
Yep. Same weekend.
Yeah. You said you're not going to Canada for Calgary?
I don't think so. There's a slim chance.
Okay. You'd be battling in that one?
I would be.
That'd be exciting.
It's hard to sit here and watch Magic all day and not battle.
Yeah, I agree with you.
When I'm at home and I'm watching Magic on the internet, I will usually be playing Magic online as well. I can't do it. I got to play.
David Gleicier versus William Jensen. We're back to it. David Gleicier on the junk deck. William Jensen on blue-red storm. Jensen going to cast Sleight of Hand here. He's got a Pyromancer's Ascension in play. No charge counters on it, though.
No, and you can see that his hand is already down to just one card.
Yeah.
Again, torn apart by the Thoughtseizes and such that you see in David Gleicier's graveyard.
This is a tough matchup.
Very tough, especially post-board. Man, Gleicier just has the ability to rip apart Huey's hand.
He's deciding between a Gitaxian Probe and a Empty the Warrens on the Sleight of Hand. Let's see what he goes for. If he goes for the Gitaxian Probe, he can draw another card, maybe add a counter, depending what's in his graveyard.
You got to figure that Tarmogoyf's pretty huge here, though.
Yeah, it's got instant sorcery, creature, and land. Maybe an enchantment.
It's possible.
Gitaxian Probe comes down. For Huey, he's going to get a look at David Gleicier's hand. Is Gleicier going to respond by casting Avid Mind Sensor? No, he's just going to show Huey Knight of the Reliquary, Avid Mind Sensor, and Huey's going to draw a card. It's going to be Shivan Reef, leaving him to go play that Shivan Reef. It turns on David's Tectonic Edge, though. So David's going to cast the Avid Mind Sensor at end of turn, pass it back, and wow. Sword of War and Peace off the top for David Gleicier.
Oh, man. Is that lethal? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
9?
9, yeah.
If there's an enchantment in the graveyard.
Yeah, it depends on how big that Goyf is.
That is game.
But if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then one card in hand for William Jensen, he can get rid of this Desperate Ritual. Desperate indeed, so it would keep him alive, but he's top decking here.
Yeah, he's got to chain together.
Yeah, David Gleicier jumps back up to 14 life, but things looking very poor for Huey here as he's. I mean, yeah, he's going to have to chain together a bunch of cards. He's not going to be able to cast. Well, I guess he can still cast Gitaxian Probe, but those are the kind of things he's going to have to really come up with. A perfect chain of cards to be able to win, and he really has to win on his turn right now.
So, players are just...
It looks like they're rewinding a little bit here.
Okay.
Oh, so they must have miscounted. The Goyf must have been 4, so that Huey didn't need to get rid of the Desperate Ritual.
I see. Can Huey chain something together here? Did he draw...
Because we know that Desperate Ritual is going to get a counter on Pyromancer Ascension, but this is a...
Huey drew Electromancer, but I don't think that's going to do it. Sitting at 1 life.
Yeah. He needed a draw spell there.
Is there a Past in Flames in his graveyard? That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay. Yeah, we can't see his graveyard because of the glare there, but...
Nope, that's it. David Gleicier defeats Huey 2-0 here at Grand Prix Kansas City.
I wonder if that's Huey's worst matchup.
It's pretty bad.
It's got to be high on the list of bad matchups for Huey when he sits down and sees his opponents playing that deck.
Yeah, all the hand disruption with a efficient clock is pretty good. Don't forget, we've got Worlds Week coming up starting July 31st with the Magic the Gathering World Championship and the World Magic Cup going all the way through Sunday, August 4th. Don't miss any of the action. Follow it all live all week long at twitch.tv/magic and dailymtg.com. We've got special guest commentator Luis Scott Vargas.
Yeah, I'm so stoked for this event. Yeah. It's going to be fantastic. You get to see teams from countries from all around the entire world represented at the World Magic Cup. It's an event that's unlike any other that we have on the schedule for the whole year. It's really, really cool to get that team aspect, especially when you're representing your country. That's a huge deal, and it completely changes the tone of the event. And then alongside that, we're going to be seeing the World Championship, which is my personal favorite event of the whole year. 16 of the absolute #1 top best players. There is not a slouch in the field, and every single match is a feature match at the World Championship. It's going to be great. We hope you'll join us for that at the end of the month.
I remember last year's, I was holed up in my office just watching it all the way, because it was on Seattle time. I was in Chicago. I just, ran out to get a quick dinner and just watched until like 8 o'clock each day. Stayed in the office super late. It seemed like maybe I was working super hard.
Love it.
We're back here. Ari Lax versus Sean Waihe, the battle of the undefeateds. Looks like Ari Lax took a mulligan. He's looking at his 6-card hand. Waihe kept on 7, and Ari's going to start things off with a Stomping Grounds tapped.
All right, so can Ari Lax remain undefeated here? That's the question. Sean Waihe has a draw on his record, but otherwise he's also undefeated. We see he's got a lightning bolt in hand here, but Ari Lax clearly didn't have one of his 8 one-mana accelerators in hand, or else he would have just played it out.
Okay.
All right, so Sean's going to crack this Arid Mesa and get things moving forward for his game plan. He's going to get a Steam Vents here.
Do you know what that split card is in Sean's hand?
Is there a turn burn? What was it? I didn't see a split card. Oh, is it wear and tear?
Yeah, okay. So, interesting card out of the sideboard for Sean Waihe.
Yeah, destroy target artifact for 1 in a red, and for a white you can destroy target enchantment, but it's a fuse card, so you can do both. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's going to take out Birthing Pods in this matchup primarily.
And has the ability to take out Spellskite.
Sure.
Can kill his own Splinter Twin. I don't think he's going to do that.
No, it does have the ability to.
Just a nice shatter effect.
Yeah, a couple of really good targets on Ari's side of the table, potentially.
Yeah.
All right, Wall of Omens for Sean Waihe. He's going to draw him a card and get things, just keep momentum moving forward. Also, Wall's done a pretty good job of keeping Ari's Kitchen Finks at bay, just because Ari's deck can just beat you down with creatures, and the Wall of Omens does a really good job of helping to prevent that. This
mulligan from Ari's put him in a little bit of a precarious situation. He hasn't played anything yet.
No.
He's going to untap on his 3rd turn. If he doesn't have another land, he's in real trouble. I see Gavany Township, though, just drew a Grove of the Burn Willows.
Yeah.
So he's going to slam down Birthing Pod.
All right, so I assume that Sean's going to untap and take that thing out. It just doesn't really feel like he's going to be in a position where he can let a Birthing Pod stay on the table for very long. And there it is. Wear and Tear is going to take down the Birthing Pod immediately. Sean is not going to allow Ari to untap with that card. He knows how powerful it is in the matchup and what it can do. It's a 1 of Wear and Tear. Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Got there. Had it.
Okay.
All right, a couple of mana here, and it looks like a Spellskite in hand for Sean.
I mean, that's one of the nice things about Ari's deck. Like you said earlier, he can just beat down with creatures and completely ignore Spellskite, whereas Sean's deck needs to get rid of the Spellskite in order to really combo off.
That's right. I think that Sean has just passed a turn here.
Just wants to hold up some mana for counter spells.
Or removal. I think he figures getting the Spellskite down right here isn't really going to get him anywhere anyway. It's not like Ari's going to be able to untap and go off. And not that it's impossible, but it is impossible if Sean has removal in his hand. So
Ari just plays another land and says go.
All right, here's a Vendilion click on end step for Sean Waihe. He says, I'm going to target you.
Okay. Shows Path to Exile, Negate, Kiki-Jiki, and Gavany Township.
All right, so let's see what Sean wants to take away here. The Path to Exile's one of the main cards that can interact with his combo, since he is using Splinter Twin and Kiki-Jiki and/or Kiki-Jiki. The Negate as well. Now, the Kiki-Jiki is the only real proactive card on Ari's side of the table, but Sean has answers to that in his hand in the form of Lightning Bolt and Lightning Helix. So he doesn't really need to worry too much about Kiki-Jiki. He's just going to take Negate. He's going to try to protect his own side of the combo as best he can.
Okay, so negate goes down. Ari draws a random card. Sean Waihe in good position here.
Now Ari's just kept up the revealed hand, the revealed cards here on his side of the table. Those aren't in play or anything like that.
Yeah, Spellskite looks like it's going to resolve for Sean. And Sean not in too bad a position with that Vendilion Click. Unless Ari wants to use that Path to Exile, he's going to be able to start beating down, and that's exactly what Ari is going to do. He doesn't want to wait for that Spellskite to come down and make it hard for him to get rid of the 3-1.
And Sean had the option there to redirect to Spellskite. Oh no, it's still on the stack, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Even then, Spellskite's pretty important on Sean's side as well to protect his combo when he's ready to go off. So, while he wouldn't have mind putting some pressure on, having a Spellskite's not too bad for Sean either.
Okay.
So Sean's able to keep up both lightning bolts or a helix and a lightning bolt. A couple of unknown cards in Ari's hand for Sean here. Well, that was one of them. And is this going to be Kiki-Jiki?
Yeah, Kiki-Jiki's fine. You got to imagine Sean's going to bolt it, and that's exactly what he does.
I'll fetch a response. I'm going to go.
Interesting thing here, the Spellskite doesn't do all that much against Kiki-Jiki and Restoration Angel.
No, it doesn't. Kiki-Jiki can only target creatures you control.
Yep. And same with Restoration Angel.
And same with Restoration Angel. So, Spellskite not good at breaking that particular part up. What it does do well, though, for Sean is protect his own stuff from any type of removal or anything like that. Though Ari Lax's deck really does take a different approach to how to how to disrupt Sean in the form of like Linvala. Spellskite doesn't do anything with that. In fact, just makes Spellskite even worse.
Going to Sean's turn here, draws a Pyroclasm.
It's kind of dead here.
Yeah, not too great.
He'll get a 1-for-1 out of it later, though, if he wants it.
Splinter Twin on the Wall of Omens.
Start drawing some cards. Sean is going for the value Splinter Twin here.
Yeah.
He's just going to ship the turn back, though. And there's that Gavany Township, but unfortunately for Ari, no creatures.
He's got a Zealous Conscripts off the top, though.
All right, so what is he going to do here? Just add this to the board?
Yeah, he can then take the Wall of Omens and draw a card.
And he says, sure.
Interesting that Sean didn't want to
just redirect there?
to Spellskite.
Why do you think he didn't want to?
I'm not sure. Maybe he's afraid of something else happening.
Okay.
But I can't imagine something that bad happening. But anyway, Ari's going to get in for 3 with the Zealous Conscripts after he drew a card off the Wall of Omens.
He's going to get in for 4.
Oh, 4, sorry.
Which is why Sean didn't block there.
Yeah.
Got it.
Ari Lax says, do you have it? But that's a
10 minutes of thinking.
potentially deceptive question, as Ari does have a mana up there.
Yeah. Does he have something else in his hand?
I don't think so, but Sean certainly doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Sean did say, though, he joked, he said no, he said I wouldn't think for 10 minutes.
I just moved my car.
I mean, Sean here can fire up that Celestial Colonnade and start getting aggro. Well, Lightning Bolt's going to take out the Zealous Conscripts. And he's going to make a copy of Wall of Omens to draw a card, draws another Pyroclasm, and just ships the turn back. Ari has a Misty Rainforest, and the card he just drew for this turn.
Doesn't look like that Noble Hierarch's going to be able to get big enough to win. Okay.
Kusali Pride Mage.
Pride Mage.
That's going to resolve. Unfortunately for Ari, he's not going to be able to use it to take out the Splinter Twin, as Sean has access to that Spellskite. But he's going to make Sean pay for it.
Yeah, it's just a single blue mana.
Yep. Sean's going to pay a blue, redirect that to Spellskite. Spellskite's going to bite the dust. And now Ari's going to play land go, holding up 5 mana so he can activate that Gavany Township.
Yeah, he's tapped out on any cards in hand, though. He has nothing left. and Sean White's he's drawn 2 cards per turn. Unfortunately, he hasn't drawn anything amazing here. He's got the Colonnade, though, for the beatdown.
Yeah.
And let's start that train going.
Ari's going to fall to 10 here.
Yeah, you think Sean's going to fire off one of the Pyroclasms here, though, to take out that Noble Hierarch while he still can?
I think this is end of turn that Ari's going to...
Yeah, so he didn't, is what you're saying.
Gavini's Township. I mean, there's...
Done some things
Yeah.
and stuff.
I think
it's just those Pyroclasms aren't doing a ton anyway, but he's going to have a backup Pyroclasm.
He wants to hold up the Lightning Helix in his hand, it looks like.
Sure, that makes sense.
Ari
He's also got a negate, so...
Draws
Another Hierarch.
Okay.
He's going to make a wall, throw the wall in front of the Hierarch.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see the body language from Ari Lax's slow down a bit. There is a Deceiver Exarch for Sean.
He's going to fire up Colonnade again.
Just going to hit him with the Colonnade and pass the turn back. So Sean has a good line of play here with this Colonnade beating down and him drawing 2 cards per turn. He can just another Hierarch. So now Sean's pretty much got the win here, right? Because he can just Lightning Helix Ari on end step.
Untap, make an arm wall, and then I got.
And yeah, that's it.
Yep, and there
Sean
we go.
White, he stays undefeated, defeating Ari Lax 2 games to 1 here in round 12 of Grand Prix Kansas City.